Aw.
Ah, there we go. We're live. Are we live? I think we're live. Yeah, there you go.
Our screenshot is just of me being a blur for the Nevernight one.
I know. I need to change it.
That's great.
I always have to choose the most attractive thumbnails.
Right?
I know. I need to change it.
And that was the echoing. Okay.
Are you excited? I'm so excited for Vampire Academy.
Seriously. It's gonna be hard to not spoil people, though.
Yeah. No spoilers after Frostbite, guys. I'm gonna get my books here. Yay. So do we only have Trisha?
Hold on, I'm gonna...
So I was thinking, I know we said we wanted to do 2 books, but is this going to be too much to read in 1 month?
I mean, I'm down. They're so, like, they are fly through them so fast.
That's true. Okay, well, that's good then. I mean, I guess we can start with Shadow Kiss, and if it turns out that too many people, that if people need more time for Blood Promise, then we can make, because technically we did do 2 months for well, not really. We did like a month and a week for these 2. 2 books next month. Yeah, we were thinking of doing the next 2, but it might be too hard.
They are quite chunky, but also, like, you will fly through them. They're so good.
Yeah. We'll play it by ear. We'll start with at least, and if people are having trouble with Blood Promise, then we'll tag it on to the next one.
Yeah.
But if you're able to get through Blood Promise and then you can move on to the next one, because I mean, I read Vampire Academy pretty much in like 2 days.
Yeah, you fly through it, especially if you do listen. I really like the audiobooks.
I haven't
listened.
They're not available in my public library. I was so sad.
Oh, I bought those a long time ago because I read them so much. Same with Harry Potter. They're like staples. I need them.
Yeah, I bought Harry Potter, definitely. Those were kind of the ones where I was like, well, I don't mind spending the money on Harry Potter because sometimes you just need a good old Harry Potter audiobook.
Okay. So, do we want to... I mean, I obviously have rated both of these 5 out of 5 stars.
Me too.
So, what is favorite character?
Dimitri?
You're like, is that a question?
Dimitri and Rose.
Hey, Trisha, you will fly through them. They're so easy to read.
Yeah, Trisha, you're especially, yeah, I mean, the font is massive, not like Nevernight.
My favorite character is, I mean, besides Dimitri, because Dimitri is always number 1. This is kind of like a weird character that I think a lot of people don't give enough credit for. And what?
Sorry, I cut you off.
I mean, I obviously love Rose too, but I'm gonna lose some streak right here. I'm totally blanking on his name.
Is
Lissa's boyfriend.
Huh?
Lissa's boyfriend.
Oh my gosh, I love him. Christian.
Yes, thank you.
I love Christian, actually. You know what? I'm changing my mind. I want to say my favorite characters are Christian and Adrian. But I love Rose.
Not Dimitri?
No, I love Dimitri too. See, okay, so here's the thing with Rose and Dimitri. I love them, but in Frostbite, Rose was a little whiny, but that's because we figured out at the end of Frostbite that the less Lissa uses her magic, the more it hurts Rose, right? So Rose is now starting to go crazy.
Trisha, are you team Rose and Adrian? Because we're going to have some words.
No, Adrian is like, I love Adrian, but not with her.
I mean, I do too. Like, he's like a good type of crazy, and like he's a great character. But like, girl,
isn't he like the main character in Bloodlines?
Yeah. Have you read Bloodlines?
I haven't.
Oh, girl, you are missing out. There's some good character arcs in there.
Okay.
Okay, good. We're okay,
Yeah.
Trisha.
Yeah. So what should we start with? Well, how about you start, Trisha? I think you might be the only one.
There's 6 watching.
Oh, okay. 6 people watching. Okay. So
no one's commenting but Trisha.
Okay, well, does anybody else have thoughts on their favorite character?
I just have weird questions because this is like I've reread them so many times.
This is my first reread.
Okay, so if you were in Vampire Academy, like you were into this, like you were in the story, do you think that you would either be a human, a Strigoi, a Moroi, or a Dampier?
Oh, I would be a frail Moroi. All the way. I'd be Lissa.
I asked my best friend this when he was reading them for the first time, and he said I was going to be a Moroi. I want to be a Dampier, but I'm not that badass.
No. Yeah, I would be Lissa 100%. Actually, Lissa's my least favorite character.
Really?
Yeah, she could... Yeah, she's my least favorite character.
Really?
Yeah.
Girl, there's so many, like, worse characters that you could have picked. Like, she's got her redemption. Like, it's not...
No spoilers!
I could see Trisha being a Dampier. I could totally see that.
Yeah. Just in these first two, Lissa is my least favorite.
Okay, but what about... Is her name... this is totally going to throw me, but her name is Mia, right?
I think she's a great villain.
She's so annoying.
She is. I think you spelled it right. You don't like Lissa either.
Are you kidding me? I mean, Alyssa's not my favorite, but she's not like I don't dislike her.
She's just so weak. In the first 2 books.
I have no words for you.
We're just talking about these 2.
I know, but still, like, I don't think she's weak. Like, she's going through a lot of shit, and she still stands up for herself. Like, even in by the end of the 2nd book, she's like, I need to be up there with these families. Like, and she's dealing with it by herself. Like, and everybody wants to see her fail. Like, she's got her quiet strength.
Okay. I guess
like Rose, she's not strong, but like it's a different type of strength and regalness that Lissa has.
Okay, fair enough.
Because she can't be all like everybody can't be Tasha.
She's actually, you know what? I'm gonna take it back. She's my least favorite character.
Tasha is?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't see the point in her.
To piss Rose off. To piss Rose off.
Yeah, that's why she's there. I don't like. I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna take that back. Tasha Ozera is my least favorite character.
I love what she does for the story, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying that she doesn't have like. She's got character development. Her character isn't pointless. Like, I hate when characters are put into a book for like no reason whatsoever except to cause like drama and create a love triangle. Like, Tasha actually has a purpose. She's teaching the Morois to fight back. I just personally, I think she's my least favorite.
I really like what she does for the whole movement, and that there's someone in there that's being like, hey, maybe we should do something about this. Like, I like that she's strong enough on her own, and I really like her backstory, and I really like that she is going against the grain with everything, and that she's like, I don't need anybody to take care of me. Like, y'all are assholes anyways, and I can take care of myself. Like, I'm not gonna just sit and die. Like, I like Tasha's strength, and that's why I like her as a character, because I think she is very needed, and like that personality is needed, because there's so many people that are being taken care of or doing the taking care. That didn't make sense. They're either being taken care of, or they are the people who are taking care of the other people.
Yeah.
And she very much is self-sufficient, and I really appreciated that part of the story.
No, that is true. That is true. I mean, I didn't say I dislike her. I just said she's my least favorite. Like, if you had to rate your characters, you know, in order for favorites, she'd be lower on the list.
You know who's my least favorite, at least in these few books? Jesse.
Oh, I hate him.
I did not like him. I didn't think that was necessary, besides making Dimitri jealous. And it's like,
awful.
I don't know why that was. I mean, maybe to drive home the whole like blood whore thing, but it just was like that. I could have done without that.
Rose's mom. God, I hated her too.
I like Rose's mom because she's different than a YA mom. She's not like Lovey, or she's not dead. Like, she is a strong female going out in her profession, being like, this is what I want to do. Like, I don't know. She's nowhere near a good mom. I'm not saying that, but I just like that she brings something different to the table. It's the same thing with Tasha. I just like the different aspects of it.
That's true.
I'm just defending everybody. Don't come for my babies.
No, I was just gonna say Rochelle Mead's characters in this series are fantastic. Like, they're really good. I feel like every character has a purpose, and except maybe, well, see, Jesse's character has a purpose as well, because if he wasn't in the story, I feel like a lot of things wouldn't have happened.
Like the whole blood whore thing and the
yeah, and I feel like he kind of brings Rose and Dimitri together a little bit more. Like, he's kind of a little bit of the catalyst. Like, if Dimitri hadn't gotten jealous, then he wouldn't have realized his feelings for Rose.
And I also think if he wouldn't have seen them together and they wouldn't have brought up the whole blood whore thing, we wouldn't see more about Dimitri's past, which brings up the whole thing with his dad.
Yeah, so I think that Jesse is important. I feel like all of Rochelle Mead's characters have a role and purpose, and I love her characters. So you hate them with passion, or you like them with passion.
Yes. Yeah, Tracy says, I like Rose's mom. I think she's strong yet flawed in a well-written way, and I totally agree. I think Rochelle Mead's writing, the one thing that she does well is characters, and I love that. That's what I gravitate towards.
Yeah, and then Jess wrote, I agree with Gabby. I don't like Lissa either. She's timid. I'm not timid, and I think you said you would be a dumpier. Yeah.
So she is timid, and I will give you that. But like I said, it's a quiet strength. It's not. Yeah. Compared to so many explosive personalities around her, she seems to pale in comparison. But she does have she's special in a quiet way.
See, one of the reasons I feel like she's passive aggressive.
Why?
I guess just because, like, she lets things slide, but then when she gets really pissed, she kind of explodes.
Are we talking about, like, the whole baseball bat situation, or?
Yeah, and then, like, the way yeah.
I will give you that. I wish she would stand up for herself more instead of relying on Rose.
Yes, that's where, like, she's passive. She just, like, kind of lets things slide, and she won't say anything, and she'll, like, let Rose defend her until she, like, really. But I will say, when she decides to stand up, she stands up.
Yeah, and I will, like, this may be going, like, might be too meta and getting way too into the story, but what are we doing here if we're not doing that?
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
So I will say that the Moroi are trained to let the Dompiers take care of them. So they are become and trained to be complicit with them. And they're like, their instinct is to have the Dompiers be the front lines and be the ones that take care of everything, regardless if it's fighting or not. So, I mean, is it really Lissa's fault that she's that timid? Or is that like nature versus nurture? Is she bred brought up to be that timid because she's so used to everybody taking care of her, especially as a royal.
True, and she lost all her family, so I'll
Yeah.
give you that.
Lissa is a good balance to Rose, and that's why they work so well together. Definitely. And we definitely see that progress throughout the stories, too.
Yeah. Now, this isn't a spoiler, so I can't remember if it actually happens or not, but they talk about it in Frostbite. Adrian going through dreams.
Yes.
Lissa being able to walk into Rose's dreams, I think that will definitely help with their bond. I hate that it's a one-way flawed bond.
I wish that there was a little more balance, but I like that we see that Lissa can't. I like that she has limitations on her magic, and I really appreciate that, because oftentimes in YA things come far too easy for characters, especially with magic use, and a lot of things they just get right away. So I really appreciate that in this story, is that one, that she doesn't specialize, and two, that she sees what other people can do and she can't do it, and she struggles with that learning balance. And I really love that we see that struggle, and it's not just like cool.
That's true. Because if you think about it, Frostbite, if the bond was a two-way, if the bond was two-way, the end of Frostbite could have been easily avoided.
Oh yeah, and I think like that's too much of an easy out.
Yeah. Granted, shoot, what's his name? Not Caleb.
Mason?
Huh?
Mason?
Mason. Why did I think Caleb? Mason.
I mean, it was sad, but I wasn't super attached to Mason.
Really? I loved him. I thought him and Rose had the best banter until Adrian came into the picture.
I totally agree. But yeah, Adrian kind of tops it for me. Just because Adrian's more snarky, and he like gets under Rose's skin, and she even says that, like, how do I still want to be around you when you drive me nuts? And I like love that.
Yeah, I completely forgot that Adrian was Spirit. I'm telling you, I haven't read this series since I read it when Vampire Academy was first released, and I waited like each year for the books to get released. So whenever this book was first released in 2010.
Oh my gosh.
2007. What?
Oh yeah, because it's 10 years. It's 10 years now.
Yeah, 2007. It's been that long since I've read this series. So
Trisha says, yes, I agree about Lissa's abilities. If she had no limits, and she has nothing to learn and grow with.
I was attached to Mason. I was torn up about the trauma Rose went through to hack off the heads. I wasn't attached to Mason.
Yes, and I really like that we see that struggle of, like, again, it's the Dompiers are being trained and they're supposed to be okay with all of this, but I like that we see that trauma and how much it really takes out of someone, so they can be trained to take down these people, but it doesn't mean that they're mentally ready, and that is such a big part of it. And I love that mental health is such a big prominent area in this book, not just with Lissa, but also with Rose with the PTSD, and even like her mom talks about like the struggle she has, and it talks about not being mentally ready, and that's why bringing the age of the Dompiers that to be ready to fight is such an important topic. I think that it's so prominent, and it doesn't get enough credit for how much mental health is really talked about in this book, and I love it.
Yeah.
Trisha, I'm surprised you weren't attached to Mason. I thought I was just not attached to Mason because I've read this book so many times.
I liked Mason, but you know, in the end, he was, it's okay.
In the overall arc of the entire series, because he dies off so soon, it's not super important.
Yeah.
But it's like, it is because it's like the first one that she's like, I know him and he died. Like, it's a shell shock to her. And I think that's important to have in there.
Yeah, like she realizes like, but I like how she grows up so much in Frostbite.
I did think that, like, I love this, like, don't get me wrong, but I think that she grows up a little too fast.
Yeah.
Because she starts off like I want to party and stuff, whatever. And I get that she's still young, so that's fine. But then she like Dimitri like snaps her out of it, and I felt like she transitioned a little too easily to growing up, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing really stirred that. I think if it would have been placed where Mason died trying to be ready, that would have made more sense for her to snap out of her and like make her more responsible and take it seriously. I wish we would have seen that a little bit more. Granted, her going through the death and everything and you know, being brought back by Alyssa and stuff, that it that could have been, but she was still partying, so it just, I wish we would have had a bigger catalyst to signify the maturity upgrade, if you will.
Yeah, I feel like it's Dimitri. 7 years is a big deal when you're like 16, 17 years old.
It really is. Trisha said, well, I figured that it's sad that he was a friend and she doesn't have too many friends besides Lissa. I do think she grew up a bit when her and Lissa were on the run, but we didn't see it. I get that, but she also comes back and she goes back into the party phase thing too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. And but it's like you're also 17, like you're going back and forth, you're going to be conflicted about what you're supposed to be doing, you know?
Yeah, it's an interesting book. There's like so much going on in these books. Like you've got the high school component of the drama. They like, let's go back in, like they're going back pretty much to high school. They're trying to fit in. They're trying to like go to parties and be popular. But then on the same time, they're fighting to be like guardians, and I don't know. It's an interesting premise. I don't know. I like it. I feel like there's just so much going on.
Do you guys think that Dimitri asked too much of Rose? Like, was his expectations for a 17-year-old girl to handle things, do you think that that was too high of an expectation that he put on her?
What did he have her handle, though?
Like, just how serious he expected her to take it. Like, yes, the situation was, but look at her peers. And so the fact that he was pushing and pushing for her to take this more seriously, I understand, but also he didn't take into the aspect that she is 16, 17, you know? Like, was that fair of him to put that much pressure on this girl who's still learning who she is?
Yeah, and that's where I'm thinking like this book has so much. Like they're expecting these teenagers to be able to do all this stuff, yet they're treating them like teenagers, and they're still in a high school setting. Just like when they're fighting, well, not fighting, but when they're having that discussion, and Tasha's saying like we need to stand up for ourselves, and one of the Maroi says no, we just need to push out guardians faster. They're like, okay, so you're asking these teenagers to like speed up the process, like that's not right. And so that's where, I mean, there's just so much going on in this book. Like they're expecting them to be adults as teenagers, but they're still in high school and they're still treating them like teenagers, but they expect them to act not like teenagers.
Yeah.
Right?
So
does that
like
make sense?
It does. And the thing is, like, I didn't see any of the other teachers treat the students like that. They all understood that they're not there yet, and they all get that. I didn't think that it was fair for Dimitri to put that much pressure on Rose to be like, you need to grow up now. You need to be ready for this. Like, you have this. He put his expectations on how serious he took the job on her when she wasn't in the job yet. And I understand the reasoning, like his reasoning of you need to take this seriously, and I totally think that it was valid, but I think that he was very conflicted on her age, and he didn't take that into consideration because he put the pressures of a 25-year-old on a 16-year-old and expected her to live up to his expectations of what he holds himself to. But then he also made digs at her about being like, well, you're too young, or you're young, you act young. And it's like his expectations, I felt, were a bit unfair for Rose.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think it's because he wants her to take it seriously so she won't get hurt?
I like I said, like I get the reasoning behind it, but I think like it just was unfair that he put that expectation on her because he doesn't see, like, you never saw that interaction with any other Dhampir with him. So it felt like it was just a Rose needs to do this, not everybody needs to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And I felt that was a little unfair.
Yeah. So Trisha says, I don't think it's too much. I do agree that they are young, but how long have they been training teenagers to be guardians? How long that Dhampirs could be more grown up? Long enough that Dhampirs should be more grown up. That's true. But the thing is like, you still have 17-year-old hormones. So
right. And it's like
hard to like grow up.
And like not all people who are trained to be Dhampirs and to be like Dhampir is a race. It's not a guardian. So like they're all going to school, but not all of these people want to be guardians. Like they talk about like women who want to stay home and want to raise families and, you know, things like that are Dhampirs. So just because you're going to school doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be a guardian, but you're just trained to be guardians.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? They say that. They're like, so, because someone says, I don't want someone protecting me that doesn't want to. Like, we can't, Tasha says, we can't force Dhampirs to be your protectors.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't want to do it, we can't force them to do it.
Trisha says, for being unfair, we need to take into account that the book is from Rose's perspective. She has a skewed view, and maybe the other students are getting the pressure to take it more seriously, but she doesn't see it. Very true. That could be. But, like, we see, like, Jessie, and we see, like, Dimitri interact with Jessie. We see Dimitri interact with Mason. And, like, they're in the same area. But, we see Dimitri act with Lissa. And he never puts Lissa in her place like he puts Rose in her place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he loves her. He just wants her to grow up so that, I don't know. I think he's probably trying to, like, justify his feelings.
Totally. But that's where it's like the harmful trope is like, I think he wants her to be on his level because he already looks at her as a peer, but that's not completely fair because she's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Yeah, she still has those teenage impulses where she's going to be immature.
And I think like that's where Dimitri was in the wrong with that, is that his expectations for him to, like, just because you're attracted to her and you view her as a peer doesn't mean that she's actually mentally there. And that's unfair for you to hold your expectations because you want her to be there, you know?
True. The twist at the end of Vampire Academy, did anybody see that?
Honestly, when I read it the first time, no, I had no idea.
Yeah, Victor Dashkov, I had no idea either.
He wasn't like a super impressive villain, I gotta say.
No, he wasn't really.
For how dangerous this world is, it was very lackluster for the first book. Granted, I liked the twist that, like, the whole Mia thing, or is it Mia? No, not Mia.
Natalie.
The whole, like, Natalie thing, I totally didn't see coming.
No, I didn't see that either. I completely forgot that was going to happen.
And it totally makes sense now that you look back at it, but I really didn't see Natalie, like, setting up all of those things when she, like, I get her being, like, vicious when she is a Strigoi and gets turned Strigoi, but I totally didn't see her, like, she did all of those things as a Moroi, like, killing those animals. I totally didn't think she'd have it in her.
Yeah, I liked Natalie's character a lot. I think she was a better villain than Victor.
Totally. Yeah, Trisha says, I do think that he didn't think his plan through very well. Yeah, because, like, how long are you going to keep Lissa hidden? She's less of the dragon ears. Like, what?
Yeah,
and you just keep her in your closet, like, and no one's going to look for her? Like, that makes no sense.
Let's just talk about the ending really quick. Okay, this is where they leave the cabin from Dimitri's, like, after, so this is where they're about to spring into action.
Okay.
This is all it is. That's it. This little chunk right here is the full ending. Less than 50 pages. And that's, like, the whole thing of, like, they save Lissa. I was like, oh, I kind of wish that it had been expanded a little bit more.
So did you think that the pacing was off then?
A little bit at the end.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they kind of took her and put her in a cabin. So I mean, keeping her in her closet's not that far off.
But yeah, I felt like the ending. But then again, you have to think about it. It's Rochelle Mead's first book, and the first book in the series. And I don't know if this is her first book that she ever wrote. So can't be too hard on it.
I didn't feel like the pacing was off though. Like I was engaged through the whole thing.
Oh,
granted, this is like one of my favorite books, so maybe that's why. But I didn't think that the pacing felt off. But when you look at it that way and you see like that's how much the really action is, I totally get it.
Yeah, I think maybe because I watched the movie like 4 times after I read the book. The movie's awful, but I don't know why. I keep going back to watching it, and I do think that they did a pretty good job with the ending. They added more pizzazz.
I hate the movie. It's awful.
It is. It really is. But there's something about it. It's like I can't stop watching it. Did anybody else watch the movie?
I think Trisha was going to, but they took it off Netflix, so.
Yeah, they did. You're not missing much. It's okay.
I just didn't like that they did the whole mean girl aspect. I just thought that was way too cheesy. And I'm like, give it a better chance than that. This is good books. Like, don't make it like a parody. And it just was like, meh.
Yeah, and then they just got so many things wrong. Like Lissa's cutting, her mental like disability, not disability, but like mental illness. The whole like she never they're keeping Spirit a secret, and in the movie she like yells out to the world, I'm specializing. And I'm just like, what? Like,
yeah.
This whole thing is about keeping it a secret. Oh, shoot. Okay. I hope I didn't spoil the movie for you.
Well, I mean, you read the book, so how much can you really be spoiled?
That's true. That's true. What was it? Who's your least favorite character?
Jessie.
Jessie?
I think so.
Which book did you like better? Vampire Academy or Frostbite?
I don't know. They're both good. I look at the whole thing as a whole. I can't like separate it out because I've read it so many times.
Yeah. What do you guys? Which one did y'all like better, and why? Vampire Academy or Frostbite? I liked Vampire Academy better.
Because Rose is whiny in Frostbite.
Yeah, Rose is a little whiny. And the whole thing with what you said with like Dimitri, I feel like there's just Frostbite is a lot of back and forth, and it's all like there's not much that happens. It's a lot of like talking. You know what I mean? Yeah. Except the ending. Vampire Academy, we get training. Like more happens in Vampire Academy. I feel like there's more plot versus in Frostbite, and they're basically at a cabin. They're on a ski trip, and it's back and forth between acting mature and immature and all. I don't know.
I can see that. How did we feel about Mason and Rose together? No. And the fact that Rose still gave it a shot, and she knew how Mason felt, and she knew that she didn't care about him. That really irked me this time.
That made me so mad. I don't like the bro dude that fought with Tasha and Frostbite at the meeting about not using their powers to fight back. I don't know his name. Yeah, Adrian's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not like that at all. And that just shows like how immature Rose can be, even though she's like a strong character, or like, you know, she's fierce, but she can be immature. But I really didn't like the fact that she was using Mason. Like, she knew it wasn't a secret. she knew from the beginning, like the first time we met Mason in Vampire Academy, she says he has a crush on her. She knew.
It really bothered me that she did it so self-aware. And I feel like that could bring a bad message to younger kids who are reading this, because it's like she knows that she has a crush on someone else. The only reason why that she's interested in Mason is because Lissa is pushing her, and I think that happens a lot to teens, is that her, like, friends will be like, oh, you should just date him, like this will be great, like he likes you. So they do that, and I feel like that's very realistic of YA, like for teens to do. So having that in YA is very relatable, but I think it sends such a bad message that it's okay to do, because you see Mason, like, how much he cares about her, and she continues to push herself to be romantically involved, even though time after time she talks about how she's not into him. And I just think it's such a bad thing to show. I mean, it's very, very real, but I think they should have showed it. And then I wish they would have had that conversation with Dimitri or with Lissa, being like, you don't really like him, do you? Like Lissa had with Aaron.
I was just going to say that.
And Lissa owns up to it, and she's like, I don't really like him, so I don't know why I'm with him. Like, why am I stringing him along? And I think Rose needed to have that, but it never happens.
Yeah, and so I think that's one of the reasons that I like Vampire Academy better than Frostbite, or Frostbite is actually the least favorite in the series, is because I feel like it takes a step back. So much happens in Vampire Academy. There's so much character development, character growth on like Rose and Lissa, and realizing that, hey, shit can happen and it's about to get real. But then like in Frostbite, it just, I don't know, it takes a step back.
I can see that.
Yeah. It just, but it's funny because the first time I read it, I was like, yay, Mason. I liked Mason. And I was like, Mason and I liked Mason and Rose together the first time I read it. And now that I reread it, I was like, ooh, I don't like this. I don't like what she's doing.
Yeah, because you can see for what it is, because you already know what's going to happen, type of thing.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Anna and the French Kiss. Have you read that?
Yeah.
Like, I loved it the first time I read it, and then I wanted to read it again after we read Simon versus the Homo sapiens, and I started rereading it, and I was like, this is a terrible book. This is an awful message. What?
I haven't reread it.
Like, they're pretty much like, he's cheating on his girlfriend.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like, it's awful. I was like, why did I love this book?
Because they were still faded. We get suckered into things like that.
Yeah. The power of first person.
I think if Dimitri was more out of the picture and for Rose to try to move on, but she still kept holding on to Dimitri, and she would like still flirt with Dimitri while she was with Mason, so that's where I felt that it was wrong for her to be with Mason, because she was still continuing her actions. It wasn't like she was trying to pull away from Dimitri and she was trying with Mason. She just wanted her cake and to eat it too. You know what I mean? Like, she wanted both sides. If she couldn't have Dimitri fully, she wanted someone else to sate her appetite and still have that relationship with Dimitri.
Yeah, she's a little boy crazy.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
A little boy crazy.
I mean, even Dimitri calls that out. Like,
yeah. I do think she drew it out too long, but I don't see it was wrong for her to try. So actually, you know what? I do see her holding back on the flirting with Dimitri as well. And I feel like Dimitri, does he flirt? Like, did you get any of that vibe? I felt like reading it the second time, he's more, he doesn't show it as much. Like, I didn't catch a lot of Dimitri's flirting, except when he called her Rosa.
Ugh. Can we just talk about that? Like, that is very subtly sexy.
Yes.
What I love about this book is that there isn't a ton of flirting. It's the tension, and she writes the tension so well
Oh my
that
gosh.
that's what is the whole thing. Is there's not, if you like look at it critically, there's not a lot of flirting in it.
No.
It's the tension that is built between them that makes it so good.
Yeah, just the way they look at each other and the way he stares at her and they make eye contact and
it's like the whole like, because he's her teacher type of thing, it's like a very forbidden thing. Like that's where the forbidden trope is okay, not the incestual part.
Yeah. And
but,
you know, another trope that I really hate, but for some reason I love it in this, is the teacher. He's not necessarily her teacher though, but I hate the student teacher trope. Like, I don't know. I hate that trope when like, but
he's more a mentor.
Yeah, he's her mentor. So it's not, I mean, it's not illegal what they're doing.
I mean, she's not 18, so it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Granted, who knows in this world? Like,
yeah. Like, did he say, like, could he get fired? Like, could he get fired as a guardian if they get caught? What?
I think so.
Oh, okay. But I didn't mind, like, the teacher. I guess I didn't mind the teacher-student trope in this one.
I didn't mind it either because we did see the confliction and we saw, is confliction a word?
Yeah, I think so.
And we saw him, like, he knew that he shouldn't be doing it, and I liked that, like, it wasn't him pursuing her, and even she recognized the boundaries, and I like that we saw the boundaries, but there was still that tension, that undeniable tension, and that's, I think, what made it okay and good.
Yeah, there's, like, really good sexual tension in Vampire Academy.
What do you guys think about the whole Rose and Christian thing? Like the animosity that Rose has for Christian, do we think that is because they are so similar in personality? Or if, like, the fact that he was, like, willing to lie to keep her, like, Lissa and Christian apart, like, I thought she was a bit manipulative there to push her thoughts and her wants for Lissa into action instead of listening to Lissa.
Yeah, and her reasoning is stupid. Like, basically, she says he's like a weirdo.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
her and part of me's thinking like, your friend is kind of having issues too. Like,
yeah,
people could probably say the same thing about Lissa. She's dealing with a lot, and I'm sure Christian is too. She's being a little bit hypocritical, like her reasoning to keep them apart. I didn't like that.
Yeah. And I think she's a little bit of an elitist because even though Christian was royal, she'd never thought of him as royal. And so he wasn't good enough for Lissa type of thing. I got that vibe at least.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that Christian and Rose are similar in personality?
I feel like they're both sassy, kind of. Like, Christian is snarky.
Yes.
Like Rose is. And I feel like they're both like, they both want what's best for Lissa, and they both care, and they both are, I think they're pretty like fierce. Like, when they get together, they can work well together.
Yeah.
And they can be pretty badass together. So I do like them. I feel like they're pretty, but I think Christian is a lot more mature on
I agree.
So many levels.
I really like that trope in this, that it's like Lissa saw him when no one else did, and like he saw Lissa when no one else would, and I really like that trope, and I think it's adorable.
Yeah.
I also thought it was weird that they had sex in the church, though. Especially with Lissa being so religious. I really was like, you think that she would be like a little more fighting that. But, you know, when you're 16, you'll do what you want and where you can get it, I suppose.
Yeah, and didn't she say it's not in a church? They did it above the church.
Well, it's the church's attic.
Yeah, yeah. But I think she says something like that because
Yeah,
doesn't
but
Christian
that was
say
not a very good fight. Like
what?
she's just like, would God frown upon this or whatever? So like she said something like that, and then like that was all they said, and then they just kept going.
Yeah. I have to say I do love the fact that Rose was like getting pulled into her head. I thought it was
Really?
hilarious.
I
What?
mean, it totally is funny, but I was like, God, that would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it's cringe-worthy, but I thought it was so funny.
I really liked the twist of that Rose was still a virgin and everybody assumes she's not because she's so flirtatious. I really like that trope, and I like that we see that she is a lot more innocent than what everybody assumes, and she just kind of takes it because I think that happens a lot in real life, and I just appreciated seeing that
Yeah. Mhm.
brought to the book.
So Trisha says, I don't like Rose's resentment of Christian because I want Lissa to be happy, but I get why she does it, even though the true reason is something Rose hasn't come to terms with. But Rose did it because Lissa is really her only friend and she's jealous and Lissa is being taken away from her. Yeah, that's true.
Totally. And I think that like that's a big thing, and that maybe that's why she's so willing to push Aaron and Lissa together, because Lissa isn't ever infatuated with Aaron enough that is pulling her away from Rose.
Yeah.
So what do we think about Lissa using her what's the manipulation?
Compulsion.
Compulsion on like the popular kids, and
Oh, I loved it.
like pushing Rose to drink and stuff when she's being good.
Wait,
I didn't like that.
Wait,
I
what?
didn't like that Rose was like, or Lissa was like a bad influence on Rose.
I totally missed that.
Well, because Lissa was like, you never dress up anymore. Like all you dress is boring clothes, and you're so serious. And she was like complaining about Rose taking things seriously, and like why aren't you drinking and stuff like that. Like she put that pressure on Rose once Rose did step up and be more serious about the guardian thing. And even Mason mentions it, like, well, you're not her guardian yet. Like she's not your charge. You can have fun. And she's like, I can't. And like no one got it, because I guess it shows that maturity level that Rose was at. But it's like, I didn't like that we had Lissa being the bad influence. I thought that Rose had enough of that to, besides Lissa being part of it.
Yeah, and I guess that comes with more of the passive aggressiveness, using compulsion. I mean, I love the fact that she was using compulsion on the other students, but I felt like it was a little passive aggressive.
Totally. But again, well, I guess that they're trained not to do that.
Yeah, so I guess in their world it's very rebellious. That's true. Especially, like, didn't they say especially using compulsion on another Moroi is like a huge no-no?
Yeah. Were you guys surprised that they went on like the Crusader mission? Like Mason and Mia and Eddie.
No, not at all.
You weren't surprised?
No, because Mason's been acting like that from the beginning.
I was surprised when I first read it that Rose didn't tell Dimitri.
Yes.
And I get she was trying to save her own ass, and I get that, but it's like, come on, like you were doing so well, like your progression of maturity was doing so well. You think that you would have done some or told someone, or at least told Lissa, you know, like told someone. But it also was like, maybe that's to show her flaws that she didn't tell anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another reason why I feel like she just took a step back in Frostbite. Like, she's like, oh, we need to go after them. And it's like, tell somebody.
Yep. Trisha said she wasn't surprised either. Well, do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm really excited for the next two.
Yeah. I don't remember them at all.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Like I said, it's very hard to break up what books are what happens in what books. I just look at the overall story arc, but I'm excited to read these to know what happened to them, because I couldn't tell you what happened to them right now.
Yeah, I'm excited because honestly, there's just a few things that I remember here and there. I honestly don't even remember how the whole thing wraps up. Like, Last Sacrifice. I couldn't even tell you what happens in Last Sacrifice.
Ooh, girl.
I can't remember anything. The last thing I remember.
Well, don't spoil.
I'm just thinking, is it at the end of this one? Yeah. The last thing I remember is bits and pieces of Blood Promise.
Okay.
That's the only, like, I don't remember the last two at all. But I do love, do we want to talk about like how interesting and how like, I guess complex Lissa's like spirit is, and how, I don't know, just the fact that it drives her crazy. Well, I guess we talked about that a little bit. Like it drives her to pretty much cut herself, but then it also is it's causing Rose to spiral out of control as well.
I think it's so crazy that, I mean, Saint Vladimir had this, and there's no info on it. Like, I find that very unrealistic, is that, like, no one put the pieces together besides these two teenagers. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I hate that trope.
Come on.
Like, the teenagers figure it out before the adults do, and it's like trained adults. I hate that.
And it's been around forever. Like, St. Vladimir's old. Like, you'd think they would have figured this out before now.
Yeah. Which one's the next one? Shadow Kiss, right? Shadow Kiss, yeah.
Yeah.
So we learn more, because I forget how intricate their like bond is. It's not just like a random bond.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So that was like a nice surprise when I was rereading it. It's like, oh, I completely forgot how much detail actually went into their bond.
And how well thought out and intricate.
Yeah, everything just flows together really nicely. I love this series. It's so good.
Yes.
Which is why it's like disappointing that I didn't enjoy Rochelle Mead's other books.
Yeah. Bloodlines is just as good as this, though. I mean, it's not, but it's good. Like, it's up there. It's totally her second best series.
Okay. Yeah, because I tried Soundless.
Yeah.
And then I tried a little bit of Glittering Court, and I wasn't interested either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I do recommend Bloodlines if you guys are interested in continuing the story after this. Bloodlines is just as intricate and character, well thought out characters and stuff like that too. So I recommend going
maybe
into that.
We'll continue it at the read along. I'll get the complete series of Bloodlines.
So, does we have any more thoughts before we close out of this? I think we kind of exhausted our both books.
Yeah, I mean, because when you think about it, not too much happens in Frostbite.
We have to have backstory.
Yeah, it's a great. It suffers from a little bit of second book syndrome, but not much.
Yeah.
Because still, I read through it. I mean, I had to stop myself because I read Vampire Academy so fast. I was like, I need to stop.
Yes.
All
right. So,
really quick though, Miss Carp. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. So we don't know
too much about her, so tread lightly.
What?
We don't know too much about her, so tread lightly in the first two.
Okay. I was going to say, in the movie, it alludes to her still being alive, but I don't know about in the books. We just know that she disappears. So I guess that's a spoiler topic.
I won't say anything.
Okay. I hate when they do that. I hate when movies bring things in from other books, or they like fabricate books. Yeah. See, I think she's still alive too. I don't remember them saying that she died. I think she turned Strigoi and then she ran off. So, but I
want to give it like away.
No body, not dead. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no body, they're not dead. And even with Strigoi, I feel like if they're dead, they can still come back to life.
Does anybody think that Lissa is gonna get as bad as Miss Carp?
No.
Because she was on that road, you know?
I think well, no, because now she has Adrian and she has Christian and she has Rose. I think her support system. I think Rose is gonna go downhill. I don't remember, but I think Rose is the one that's gonna go kind of crazy.
We just need to read the rest of the books. It's so hard not to like talk about the whole series.
I know. It's so bad.
That's why I want to do 2 books this for the next month. I want to do 2 books for the next month because I just want to be like, we need to get
Frostbite in one day. I know these books read so fast.
They really do. So Shadow Kissed is how many?
It's chunky.
It is
440 pages.
And then Blood Promise is even thicker.
It's 503.
Yeah. But it's worth it, guys.
How big is Scythe?
That's actually not that big. 430.
Okay. So let's take a quick vote. Do y'all want to do 2 books for?
Look how like tiny the book is, though. Like I don't know if you guys can even see that. But
oh, girl, that's like the last page. Is that the last page?
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to read the book, but like look at the type or the type.
There you go. Well, I mean, if our live show's not till May 5th, we've got a decent amount of time to read 3 books.
See, I vote 3 books because you will fly through these.
Yeah. So, okay, guys, let's try for 2. But if it's too much, just leave a comment in the Goodreads. Let us know that there's no way you'll be able to get through Shadow Kiss, Scythe, and Blood Promise, and
we can adjust things.
We can adjust it. Yeah.
Or you can always tweet us with tweet at us, and we'll see that too.
Yeah. But I think because we're the 24th of March, and there's 31 days in March, and there's a decent amount of time. We've got like 6 weeks to read it. 5 weeks. No, 6 weeks. We've got pretty much like 6 weeks to read it. Wait, I guess, but right now with only 1 by TBR is 6 books just for book club things. Wait, what?
I think she might be in other book clubs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, just let us know.
Just let us know. Yeah, because I have a feeling, I think because you know what? I remember how this one ends. Hang on.
Are you spoiling yourself?
No, I remember how this one ends.
Don't look ahead. Yeah. No,
okay. Okay. You cannot finish this one without going into this one. I remember how Shadow Kiss ends. No, 5 books for Muggle Studies? Wait, what?
Oh, because she's reading ACOTAR to catch up.
Oh, shoot.
Gotcha. You're going to have an amazing reading month, though. Just throwing that out there.
But think about it. ACOTAR, you have until, June. Like, end of May. Yeah. Girl, you're going to read those so fast.
They read just as fast as Vampire Academy, maybe even faster.
Yeah, and they're like, well, A Court of Wings and Ruin is quite a chunky book. The problem with the ACOTAR series, not the problem, but the amazing thing about the ACOTAR series is that when you start, you can't stop.
Yeah.
That they're so good that I'm reading all of Sarah J. Maas books. Yay!
Also in for a really good ride.
I feel like we should change our book club to like Sarah J. Maas. Because she is seriously, besides J.K. Rowling, she is my second favorite author.
I mean, I got a special place for Rochelle Mead. Like,
yeah,
I just
but I love her series so much. But let us know, seriously, if it's too much, we can definitely tone it down.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's kind of a lot to read.
Okay.
And I seriously need to finish City of Lost Souls too. And
yeah, I have 10 books on my TBR for April. We'll see how much I get to.
Luckily, we have like an 8-hour travel day when we come visit you. So hopefully I can get a lot of reading done. Oh, and Dewey's 24-hour readathon. Guys, y'all should participate April 28th.
And like highly likely that I at least really want to do a read along or readathon, like where me, you, and Trisha all stay up for 24 hours and just read all night.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my life is gonna suck. I have like Dewey's readathon, and then I have, and then after that, I'm gonna have like another 24. But you too, if you participate in Dewey's, y'all should participate in Dewey's.
Yes.
We have some fun things that we're doing this month. We have a book scavenger hunt. And we're actually starting a readathon tomorrow, which is to read 24 hours in a week.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
April's going to be a good month. And your birthday's coming up, Hannah.
Yes, both mine and Trisha are on the same day.
Oh, that's awesome. And mine follows you by like 10 days.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in for Vampire Academy, and make sure you're a part of our Goodreads group so we can all chat.
Yeah. Speaking of Goodreads, I noticed that like no one wrote in like the last 2 threads of Nevernight. It's blank.
It's because everybody DNF'd it.
I know, right? So I'll create another link for the next books, but no spoilers in those threads.
We're forever sorry, Trisha. We forever apologize. That was awful.
Yeah, we were texting each other and we felt so bad.
All right. We will see you guys all next month. Thanks for coming in.
Bye.
Bye.